You know what? I can start the recording if you want.
Okay.
Okay, welcome to the TCP Building Design Committee meeting. I will read a few brief remarks before we get started into our agenda. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast over the Lunenburg Public Access Channel. The town of Lunenburg, in response to the COVID-19 coronavirus, is currently following the guidance from the Lunenburg Board of Health, Massachusetts Department of Public Health, and the CDC regarding the virus and steps communities can take to prevent the spread, and all town facilities are currently open on a limited basis to the public. In accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, all public meetings are being conducted remotely. This meeting will be recorded and be able to be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel within 24 hours after the meeting. The following information is also provided for members of the public that would like to participate in the meeting remotely. To participate remotely from a computer, please use the link below, which was included on the agenda, and join the public meeting webinar. From a telephone, dial the toll-free number 888-475-4499 and enter the webinar ID 894-7459-6352 and then the pound sign. The agenda lists all topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by open meeting law. I will call the roll to make sure we have everybody working appropriately on audio and video. Matthew Allison.
I'm here.
Brian.
Here.
Dave Blatt.
Present.
Michael Ray Jeffries.
I'm present.
Dave Passios.
Here.
Okay, and I assume everybody can hear me.
Yep.
Rick Roy, chair. All right. I will start with any public comments from the public. And I do not see any members of the public, and I do not see anybody waiting to get in. So I am going to ask if there are any public comments from the committee.
Hi, Matt. This is my first meeting. I was actually sworn in last Monday and was able to attend. Unfortunately, I had watched the previous meeting and looked at the materials, and I was pretty worked up, and I didn't feel that I was going to be a very effective communicator at that meeting, so I apologize. Anyways, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I wanted to say welcome aboard to Matt. Matt, for me and for Tom and Ed's benefit, Matt is our newly appointed planning board representative. So, and you're still functioning as chair of the planning board, correct, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're happy to have you aboard. Thank you very much for stepping up.
Also, incidentally, I do have to leave for a planning board meeting tonight at 6:30. So just for everybody, I already mentioned it. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, if I could, Greg.
Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Had a couple of conversations with citizens over the past couple of days in regards to the process that we're in the middle of. And a couple have mentioned, and I just bring this up because we're talking about special town meeting this evening. There are at least a handful of people that I spoke with that are getting a little itchy for numbers. And I said that, we're moving as forward as thoroughly and quickly as we can. The gyrations of working with additional entities and the constant changes of the floor plan delayed us at least a month, if not more. And that we were finally at the point where we've signed off and the architects and engineers are now finally able to start crunching numbers together. But I did caution them that we didn't want to get numbers out there too early and have them be them incorrect numbers, and then have to justify changes one way or the other. So I, basically was looking for patience, and but I think there are a number of people that are hoping there'll be some kind of numbers coming out at a special town meeting. And my answer to that was, personally, I didn't feel that we'd be ready to expose any numbers by then. I mean, we're only a week away, so that's my comment.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Anybody else? Yes, Michael Ray.
Yeah, I just want to welcome Mr. Allison to this committee. Yeah, him and I served on the planning board together, and I know that he's an excellent contributor to organizations and groups. And I look forward to your feedback, Matt, and your contributions.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, I wanted to, I see the primary focus of our meeting tonight to be discussion on finalization of what we want to say at town meeting. But I did put on here committee organization, thinking that we might have another member present, which we do. So just for everybody's benefit, we're still short a clerk. We have myself functioning as chair and Mr. Blatt functioning as vice chair. And we are short a clerk since the resignation of Mr. Mackin. So I sort of open this up to the committee for a discussion to see what we want to do.
Well, as the new guy, I'm sorry, if I may, as the new guy, I would love to volunteer for it, but unfortunately I am pretty straight out. I've got a whole lot of commitments. I also chair AgCom. I set the agenda and I take the minutes for that as well. I wish I could.
Yeah.
Greg, I'll volunteer.
You will, Brian?
Yes.
Man, you're a good soul.
You are.
So this committee has just been like, it's a committee. Even the citizen at large members that we have are on Dave with Green Committee and ZBA, and so I appreciate that, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
I'm happy to take another nomination, but if someone wants to nominate Brian.
I'd like to nominate Brian as clerk.
I'll second.
All right, is there a second for Matthew? Is there any discussion on the nomination and second of Brian for clerk?
Don't give him a second don't give him a second option.
Okay, no, I really appreciate it, Brian. Thank you. Okay, I'll do a roll call vote. Matthew Allison,
Aye.
Brian Leighton,
Aye.
Dave Blatt,
Aye.
Michael
Aye.
Ray Jeffries,
Aye.
Dave Passios,
Aye.
and an aye from me. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay,
Thank you.
So we move now to our agenda item, town meeting presentation preparation. And so I had circulated, so I guess there's just to frame this before we get into the meat of it. I think we have 2 or 3 different things to discuss this evening. Well, we have a few things to discuss this evening. I won't number it because maybe I'll think of more as I go through this. The first is to review and finalize, to review and sort of bless, I guess, the presentation that Tom has prepared, which we reviewed last week and gave him some comments on. The second, I think, is to go through the outline that I provided and to hammer that into a document that we're all comfortable with. The third is, I think, just to determine and finalize what documents we want to have as handouts. And make sure that we have those in a format that can be printed. Heather needs those by Thursday. So we have a short window with which to get those over to her. They don't have to be printed, but they have to be ready for printing by Thursday. Wednesday night would probably be better. And I guess I'll just say that I spoke to Heather this evening. I told her that she could take the night off. I didn't think she needed to be here for this. She didn't have any significant comments on the proposed, on the materials, other than to say that she had a meeting with the town moderator today to go over the town to go over the articles. And the town moderator has asked Heather to stress to us that brevity is important. So for those who are going to present, particularly given the situation with COVID and people being, people not maybe being super comfortable being in the building, we want to just be cognizant of that. I'm not saying to rush, but brevity is important. I can't think of anything else. So that's kind of the framework I guess I see this evening. 2 presentations. And just to decide who's going to give the presentation, I think that's kind of a foregone conclusion, but we should decide as a committee who's going to do that on our behalf, and then handouts. Does that sound reasonable to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'd suggest is perhaps Tom, if you want to, do you want to go through, have you made some headway on your, okay. Why don't I give you the floor then, and we can review what you have, and then we can turn to my material, or the material I prepared, I should say.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. while Tom's
You should be able to share your screen if you want.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, as Tom's getting that together, I actually took your notes and put it into a presentation form. I just sent it to you. I sent it to the group, like, just as this meeting
Sweet.
started.
Thanks. You're coming off a little bit quiet. Did that happen for anybody else, or is that just me?
I hear him quiet too.
All right,
Okay.
I'll adjust. Okay.
Greg,
Thank
looks like I still need to be able to share the screen.
Okay, sorry, hold on. Tom, sorry about that. Yep, okay, try now.
Okay. Why do you all see the screen?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll just quickly go over this and we can go back to the individual slides. So again, we start with the overall. Okay, let me just, excuse me. Yeah, the cover slide, then the acknowledgement slide that included the different departments we've been talking to. And then identified a couple of surveys we've done to prepare the report. So these slides are still the same. The next slide being the different existing conditions assessment. So this is still the same slide. So now here are some differences. We combined the program verification and departmental interviews. So essentially combining the diagram and the list of folks we talked to over the last summer. The next slide, we have a new rendering from the civil engineer, and they identify the different parking analysis. Again, I'm just going breeze through this and we can come back to talk about that further. So these are some of the slides we added as a response to Mr. Jeffrey's comment last week. So we decided to do an overall design concept, essentially separating what we're doing, separating the different functions, separating access, consolidating public functions, and designating different types of entries. And then we have a more detailed description of the different wings, started with the west wing. So we identify the different departments that we have. Then we move on to the north wing, which is essentially all the different school programs. And then the next slide is a combination of the center wing and the front area or the south wings. And we identify the multi-purpose room or the gymnasium, meeting rooms, conference rooms, and that the meeting and conference rooms are equipped with recording capabilities. Within these two areas, we also have IT, Lions Club, and PAC. And then we move on to the design, schematic design sign off. Again, the wording is the same, except that we clouded this title block, the sign off block, which really is the description is really on the first bullet point. And we talked about the next steps, what we're going to do. Again, this is the same slide from last time, and then we ended with the thank you. So that's the last slide we have. So just a recap, we consolidated some of the front end slide, added some more detail about parking, and have a little bit about the different design, how we come to what is the design concept for, or the planning concept. So
Okay, thanks, Tom. I'm trying to figure the best way to do this. Maybe we don't have this in front of us, do we, Tom? You didn't email this that I saw, right?
no, I can do it right
Okay.
now.
That's okay. Maybe we'll just do this slide by slide and see if anybody has any comments. Is that acceptable?
I think that would help a lot, because the review up to now, that I'm seeing on my screen, it's difficult to read them as they're
Yeah.
moving quickly. And if Tom could
Yeah.
expand
So,
out that screen a little bit, it would help.
yeah, can you go to presentation mode, Tom? Is that? I think if you do, yeah. Okay.
Oops.
Go
I
back.
don't need animation. I don't know why it's animation. So.
Of course it is.
Hit the presentation on the bottom right. On the bottom right, the little screen on the bottom right, that one will stop it from going automatically.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so now you can just use your back arrow to go back one. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's good to have someone that's a professional at this.
Hey, too many PowerPoints, only 7 of them today, so bear with me.
Okay. All right, why don't I just go through, why don't I just ask you, does anybody have any comments relative to this slide?
Only thing on this one is I would put the town offices, town manager, town clerk, assessor's office, all that building department, all put those first. And then start with the offices, the Boys and Girls Club, Council on Aging, and things like that. So kind of like
agree.
an emphasis on importance first.
Exactly. I would agree.
Or maybe those could be subheadings under town offices, maybe?
Yeah, so whichever way you like. I mean, that's fine either way. Don't worry. Tom, you don't have to, not as much now if you want to just do it, when you get
Okay.
it.
Just something that suggests priority, I guess. Is that what you're saying, Dave?
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
Same thing.
I agree with Mr. Allison that, instead of listing, since later in the presentation, you list who it's been signed off by, I think it does make sense now to just list town offices and maybe reference specifically all the departments, or later on reference them. But I don't know if it's necessary now to list them, since 6 slides from now, they're all listed by department again.
Yeah, I think I agree. And in the spirit of brevity, and simplicity, it might make more sense.
Something like this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right, next one.
Well, Board of Health and Public Access, I think, are also town offices, but I don't need to split hairs.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, we kind of treated that, Board of Health would be, but public access, we treat it differently, kind of.
Yeah, we kind of treat, yeah.
I don't know if it gets repetitive too. It says staff from town offices and then it says town offices again. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's a good point.
Do you just get rid of the staff from town offices and community groups? Just get rid of that.
Or just
Well,
move everything forward.
Yeah.
Or even if you want to just say, interviewed as many groups as possible, including blah, blah, blah.
I think you could just go through the list. Just these are the acknowledgements.
Yeah, just simple bullets, not a subheading, yeah.
All right.
Anyway, I mean,
Okay.
just simplicity.
Tom, while you're going to get into the next two, is there a way of combining these next two, 3 and 4?
I can't remember what 4 is.
4 is just a
Well,
picture of
4
the
is
building.
just,
So part of the existing conditions would be site survey, traffic survey.
yeah, I don't think the graphics is that interesting.
Right. I think the
don't
next one
think
you're
we
fine
need
with.
Any civil engineering drawing, sorry, Greg, but
I don't
That's all
know,
right,
though.
Tom. It's the story of my life,
It
but-
gives the layout of the entire property, not, I don't know how visible it's going to be up on the screen at town meeting. That would be my only question. But it gives you an overall view of the property. And then the next slide gives you a closer look at the building itself.
Yeah, I think if you go over it quickly and particularly if they have it in a handout, I think it would be good, just the existing conditions plan. And then at least you can be describing really quick what it is on the presentation. But it could be a 10-second slide. That would be my thought on it. Just,
I suggest we're gonna keep a meridian survey drawing. We used the other one. That was just the front driveway. So the building wasn't on it at all, except the very front face of the
Front
building.
edge, yeah.
yeah, I use the one with the other match, the other
yeah,
one, yeah.
okay. Slide 3. Okay,
Yeah, Mr. Chair, my goal is to get this down to 10 slides or less.
Okay,
Just because if you figure if you do 2 minutes a slide, 3 minutes a slide, you're at 30 minutes.
how many do we have?
13.
Okay. Well, we could just eliminate it.
If you
I
look
think
at the-
putting it on the other
I-
slide might be a little bit too
Yeah,
we
busy.
can just put the 2 bullet points into the next slide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just put them right into to that other slot. You can just consolidate this and just don't do the boring
Graphics out.
civil engineering survey drawing.
Who wants to read those? Ugh.
Okay,
All right.
Yeah.
All right, slide 4. Go ahead.
So I say just add the 2 bullets from the last slide on here to the end.
Yep.
Or,
Yep, I think that'd be good.
and this one's beautiful. Perfect slide.
and I'm going to mess it up. Like now, I'm going to mess it up.
Yeah,
I would say prepare later, but
yeah,
okay.
you can,
I'll
if you want to
tweak.
just take notes on this, we don't have to
Yep.
do it real time here if you don't want to. Okay, anybody else? All right,
On this one, I wasn't a fan of the picture just because I feel like it might confuse people as it's a different iteration of what we're going to be presenting in slides later on. I don't know if we could do a better visual or a different one. Maybe throw up the civil engineering one again.
Yeah, I think I'd rather see the entire plot, as Brian just said, you know, with the parking all the way around the building, so on and so forth, than this slide here, because we do it again later and show the building sectioned into its sections.
All right, so you're saying so are you questioning the slide content or are you questioning the graphic on the slide?
Graphic.
Just the graphic, yeah.
Okay, so maybe just substitute out the graphic and put the site plan on there.
Like
Yeah,
the survey site plan or?
The next slide, if you,
This is-
the graphic on the next slide is what I think they talk about.
Oh, that one, yeah.
But then what are you going to use for process and timeline? Same one?
Same one.
Okay. I like that picture. I mean, that gives you a full view.
Yep,
Okay, so we'll put this one up. We'll swap this one out.
Okay, and on here, I would, instead of review 2016 program with the following groups, just say it as interview between July and August, interviewed
Yeah.
the following groups. And once again, so the last bullet you have 30 minutes to
Yep.
1 hour sessions, just say between July and August, interviewed the following groups. And then once again, you can just have it as town offices, school offices, Boys and Girls Club, blah, 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 and things like that.
Okay. And then I'll take this one out.
Because I don't want them to have a limit on it, 30 minutes to an hour. Oh, you only did 30 minutes with some. Oh, you did some, why only that much?
Okay,
yeah, that's pretty good. It's the little things.
Yeah,
All right. Okay, anything on this one?
looks good.
Yeah, I like this one. Okay, anything on this one?
You have town offices, it should be school and town offices there.
okay. We'll edit that.
And I wonder if we want to say miscellaneous use or just say town,
Public use, public,
public use.
I agree.
I agree. You wanna
Okay, so
be
I
specific?
changed miscellaneous to public use.
Mhm.
How about the bottom, public space? Do we do it? Change it to public use too?
I think, well,
Sure. In fact, if you could make it all one big, instead of making it 2 squares, make it a big T and
Sure.
say, and just leave that as that.
yeah,
Hey guys, how about instead of public, we use community?
Yes.
yeah, community use. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay,
Community use.
And Tom, this way it looks like a predominant size of the buildings being used for the community. If you make it like one big T.
yeah,
somehow.
okay.
Okay, anybody else?
Oh, so, never mind.
Okay. Just because we move on, doesn't mean we can't go back if you think of something. All right, let's onward and upward. Any comment on this one?
Looks good. Only thing would be is if it was a way of turning it a little bit and making it a little larger, but that's about it. So if it was maybe a little bit more straight on and a little bit larger so people could try to read it better, if they try to read it.
That's going to introduce a lot of text twisting.
All right, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, for those of us that operate CAD, yeah.
I was gonna see, to me, as a PowerPoint guy, that was just to rotate and enlarge. So.
What I would suggest though is that when we do the handouts, Tom, we'll talk about the handouts afterwards, but that this just be a standalone thing, not with the text, that we just have the building maps as standalone pages so that they're as large as they can be. Well, we can talk about that next. All right, anybody else? Okay. Next slide. I see
Okay,
this is pretty self-explanatory, but any comments? You good?
My only comments are, and the doors for town storage. I don't know how big of a deal this is, but I can imagine that there's not going to be doors between extended day and school storage and extended day and town storage.
Oh,
Maybe I'm wrong, but
yeah,
that's it.
and I
Everything
think
else is
that
fine. That's
Tom
my-
would probably tell you that those are the details that are going to be the task of the next stage of the development. I don't know of whether we can take those out now or not, but
Yeah, that door is simple to remove. We'll take care of it.
I mean, to Mr. Jeffrey's point, that's the kind of question we're going to get on the town meeting floor. I think you'd be amazed. Someone's going to look at it and come up and just, why are we going to put a door between the? Anyway, so it's a good point. Okay, I think we're good on this one. Next. Yeah, I think this just gives credence to what Dave said about putting the T on the overall because it's presented that way on the slide anyway. So I think that was a good comment, Dave, from before.
thanks. And here, add the kitchen in there. And Lions Club should be a community food pantry. And then, so it's not the Lions Club getting something, it's the community food pantry moving in there. And then adding the kitchen.
I agree. I feel like every reference of Lions Club, we want to make sure that we're not giving them space for their organization, but as much as the food pantry.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else?
I know it's semantics, but the conference room, that's 620 square feet with that little triangle shaped storage, just add the storage to the conference room
Okay.
and make it a bigger number. So it becomes 700. Just sounds good. Sounds better.
And I know we're talking about presentation, but I do want to ask, if you don't mind, Mr. Chair, a question to Mr. Allison. So in a different capacity, Matt, you came before the committee to talk about the Grange Club. And do you think that and I think that as we went through the public spaces, we really, I think, had that in mind. Do you think that the additional meeting room space would satisfy that type of, and the conference rooms would satisfy that type of meeting room space?
Of course, I think the two conference, the gym or the cafeteria, either one, I think that it would be preferable to the cafeteria with the use of the kitchen, but I've got so many questions and comments that really aren't appropriate at this stage of the game. And I don't want to bog down this presentation. I don't have a problem with holding off until this continues on after town meeting to bring up my issues. But yes, to answer your question, either one would be adequate for the Grange.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. Go ahead. Next slide.
So Tom, I don't think we need this slide. I think you can talk about it earlier and just say that, it's been signed, that the plan has been reviewed, or just talk about it. But I think it's a slide that's, it's one of those that you don't need. Kind of,
There you go, down to 11.
I'm working on it, guys.
Pretty good. Yeah, I think I kind of agree. We can just say that we've received sign-offs from all the departments and agencies represented in the plan.
In fact,
Somewhere.
as you're going through the wings, you can say this wing was signed off by the town offices and
Yep.
schools. This wing was signed off by the school. This wing was signed off by PAC, things like that.
Yep.
I'm inclined to disagree. I think that in addition to the town meeting presentation, that this would likely be posted on the town website. So I think that for people who choose not to watch in detail the whole thing, that this may be a helpful slide. I think it can be glossed over quickly during the presentation, but for someone who doesn't observe the full presentation and just looks at the slide set, I think this would be helpful.
So Michael,
I tend to agree with Michael. If I could just add in something before Dave finishes up. During our discussions about this subject, one of the things we felt was it would be a selling point that we did take that step to have each individual department sign off on this before we signed off, so that if there were any issues, then we'd address them and then sign off on it as a committee. We talked about that for a number of minutes, and I think this is important to be seen. And like Michael says, you could gloss over it pretty quickly, but at least it's there. And in any place that these slides are presented, as he's mentioned, online on the town's website, then this information will be right there in front of everybody.
Fine.
All right, Brian, do you have a comment?
I just was going to say I agree.
Okay. Mr. Allison, any opinion one way or the other?
No, not really. Thank you.
Okay. After hearing that, I think I tend to agree with the latter point there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a strong opinion either way, but I think you could just kind of move quickly through it.
Okay. Next slide.
Dave, you want to respond?
No, that's fine. I'm fine.
Okay.
Listen, that's why it's a committee.
Yeah, no, I know. Okay, good. My only comment on this one is I'm not sure engineering narratives is going to really mean much to people. Maybe is what you mean there, like systems, building systems type analysis.
Maybe move it back so that it's the same level as typical details instead of highlighting it as a separate bullet point.
Yeah.
So if I just move this back, like,
So by engineering narrative, just so I understand what you mean, by engineering narratives, are you meaning like the mechanical engineers review on the mechanical systems and the electrical engineers review on the electrical systems, that kind of thing, or?
and what they propose so that it serves
Yeah.
as also like a basis of design as well.
Yeah.
Maybe change it to engineering basis of design.
Yeah, or something that people are going to understand, like yeah, analysis and I don't know, analysis of mechanical, electrical, plumbing, building systems, or something like that.
Do enough people understand what physical plant means? Because that covers all of those.
Yeah, something like that. That'll be an important thing. People will question that if we don't say it. Are we gonna
Ability?
upgrade the HVAC? Are we gonna upgrade the, you know?
Drinking
So,
water system, so on
Yeah.
and so forth.
Analysis and proposal
yeah,
and upgrade
yeah,
building systems or central plant.
Central plan sounds good.
yeah, something like that.
I would also just, while you're doing that, just note that the graphic on the right-hand side, that it's different than the one that's on the previous slide. So just to have the most recent version.
Yeah.
So remember.
So I'd probably use the one from the previous slide. Just because I don't think the words about plumbing needs to be put in there.
Yeah, we'll take it out. So
Okay.
probably can take it out.
All right.
Should we take this one out?
Well, I think we got to allow you to say thank you to the community. So I guess I'll leave that up to you.
I mean, yeah, this one's, one of those, you got 1 minute for it, right?
Yeah.
I thought this was all about this slide.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else have anything they want to add for Tom's presentation?
If you wouldn't just, which slide shows the current parking situation?
We took
I'm sorry, the proposed parking.
proposed.
Number 6, yeah.
Is there, I don't want to be picky on this, is there a way just to flip this? So that way we can see it kind of as you look onto the building straight on to
Kinda
orient
like
the map
north as
differently.
well.
So that way north is at the top.
Oops.
Seems kind of small, but it just seems that that's how most people look at that space and how all the other graphics are oriented.
Yeah. My suggestion to fix that would be emphasize the north arrow, but yeah, I think this does present better.
I would agree.
What if we crop
Alright.
some of
Yeah, you
that?
can crop it. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah. Yeah. Look at that. Amazing. Okay. Anybody else?
Looks good, guys.
All right. All right. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. Does that give you enough guidance, Tom?
Sure. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
do the tweak and send you the file.
Yep. Appreciate that. Okay, let's go into the outline, and actually, if I can share my screen, Dave was kind enough to put this on a slide. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Let me share my screen. All right, can you all see that?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I'll do the editing on my side, so don't worry about it.
Okay. Thank you, Dave.
No problem.
I'm having trouble switching to presentation view here. Hold on.
It probably won't. So just go slide by slide.
All right, that's fine. So I think here we'll say, TCP Building Design Committee.
Yep.
Something. We don't have to get too carried away with this. Committee members, Dave was kind enough to add Brian back to the committee. Sorry, Brian.
Thank you. I'd recommend school committee rep too, rather than school board.
Okay,
Okay.
you got it.
Spelling of my last name.
Shit, I even copied. I'm sorry about that. I copied it. I thought I copied it too. Okay.
Guys, I'm making sure I have my,
Do you want to reference Tanner Cole too as a former member?
Oh, yeah.
And Mackin would be no L in Mackin either.
Yeah, just Mackin.
Oh, I thought it was Mac Lynn all this time. Okay.
No, Mackin, yeah, just. Yeah, former members, is that good?
Yeah, I'll put
Everybody's
some,
all right with that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Those also, I mean, if we're listing former members, we also have Damon.
Damon McQuaid, yeah,
Yes.
okay.
okay, so hold on. I got Damon, and then the other one was, who am I missing?
Damon,
Tanner.
Mike, and Tanner.
Tanner. Okay, I'll add that. Okay.
Yep.
I'll just put a
Okay.
heading former members.
Yep, all right, great. So I tried to split this up a little bit, so it wouldn't be an overwhelming slide, but my thought was to just do sort of how we got from town meeting to committee organization. And I was trying to keep it simple. So, just town meeting votes, 2019 at annual town meeting to expend the funds. A quick update to remind people what the article was. And then just a quick timeline, of when the committee was formed and when we started.
One comment on this, if I may. The assessor's map and lot reference, do we want to say a portion of, so that we don't botch this town meeting like previous town meeting?
That's a great point. I mean, I guess the other thing we could do is we could just condense this, Dave, and just put to see if the town will vote to raise blah, 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 all the way down to where it says town offices, school uses, and community space at the building and land known as TC Passios, ... quote.
Okay.
Just truncate it.
There you go.
So you want to just end where it says Passios and then just put like, get rid of the rest of it?
Yeah, just put what do you call that? A hyperbole or whatever.
Ellipse.
Ellipse, thank you. Not hyperbole. That's something totally different.
Do you want to leave the street address and end it at Avenue instead? I
Yeah.
agree with getting the assessor's map
Yeah,
thing off
yeah,
of there and
that's-
so on.
That's good, yeah. But that's a great point, Matt. Thank you.
Certainly.
Those are kind of significant discussion too. I mean, 10 or 15 minutes of.
Oh, yeah.
Assessment.
That would turn into 20 minutes of wasted time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Any other comments? All right. So then this is just just to put it in the forefront of everybody's mind, what we were tasked to do. And again, it's just straight out of that article. And then I just put a little bit more detail that we're trying to get to the stage of quote design development so that we can get a good cost estimate to put before the town. Comments, concerns, questions? Okay, all right. So key milestones, this was intended to take us from committee organization through where we are today. So I'll just go down through this. November, December. Did you take out a few things, Dave?
I kind of combined the first two,
Okay,
where I added develop the specifications necessary to draft the request for qualifications. Which
Okay.
for now, okay,
yep, that's fine. January 2020,
I'm sorry, can I interrupt for a second?
yeah, absolutely, go ahead.
I do need to head out for the planning board meeting.
Okay,
But
yeah.
I do have a couple of comments that I
Okay.
get you guys like hashing over or thinking about at least.
Okay.
As far as I know, the skate park is still proposed and has been given permission to locate adjacent to this on that property.
Yep.
Mhm.
You should be ready for questions about that at town meeting. You should be ready for questions probably from me about the property line separating this from the school campus. And thirdly, the build out, the property line, the full back property line in the woods. Because this was included in the village center district zoning. It's got very lenient zoning abilities for expansion. So just a couple of things to think about that may come up.
okay.
Okay, I really appreciate you guys taking my comments and best of luck, and I'll see you guys at town meeting. I don't think we have another meeting before that, do we?
No, we'll be seeing you on
Okay.
the floor.
Very good. Thank you.
Matt. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Thank you.
As if I bail, you're gonna lose quorum.
No, we're good.
I have to leave in 15 minutes as well.
Okay, so we've got 15 minutes.
Okay.
So the first
I
line,
guess, rather than reading this all through, does anybody have any substantive issues with this?
I noticed that it said request for qualifications. Is that RFQ or is that RFP?
It was an RFQ, RFQ.
That needs to be edited. It says RFP.
Okay, yeah, RFQ. Dave, if you're making edits.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Tom.
We really didn't start interviewing until July. There
Okay.
wasn't really much anything going on between
Okay.
March and May.
So July,
It's really July is when we started those meeting with the departments.
all right, so I can remove March, April, May, that whole bullet then.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's COVID shutdown, boom, March, April, May is done. Delete, and then, yeah. I'll just, in the June, July, I'll just say interviews with organizations, interviews with town departments and organizations.
Yeah.
okay. I'm good with it. I wrote it, so. All right. So this, I was trying to hit what we did as a committee, not as part of our sort of public hearing process, and what we're looking at for uses, sort of hinting at prioritization. But I didn't think that we'd get into that rabbit hole. Give everybody a chance. If you have any questions, comments, I'm happy to take them.
I think this is good. I mean, aside from some formatting stuff, I'm sure Dave's
Yeah.
going to take care of in that bullet with the organizations.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Okay. And again, I'm trying to keep it short and sweet, but I want to have enough content. So by all means, if people think we didn't put enough in it, let us know. So this is where I wanted to kind of drive home. I was trying to correlate the final answer, correlating back to what our charge is. So with town hall uses, school uses, community uses. So I just bulleted the main things, and this is gonna dovetail. I think I see I see us giving this presentation first and then giving the reins over to Tom. So I think Tom's presentation will get a little bit more granular with this stuff. So I was sort of operating under the assumption that I'd be a little bit more bigger picture with our presentation. I don't want to be presumptuous. I certainly don't have to be the one doing this.
So Greg, couple of things on this. Do we
Yeah.
want to say it as preliminary plan components? Or if we want to try to maybe emphasize that these were the 3 key, or the most important or whatever, as we looked at the priorities, these were the priorities we felt was most important.
But these come from the charge though, right?
Right, I
Yeah.
understand. But the whole idea is, we went through a lot of time, guys, of figuring out what we wanted to have as, how we had to divvy up the space. There was way too much people for the space. So, I mean, it could be, I don't know. I'm wondering if preliminary plan concepts is maybe not the right title as much as maybe I'm nitpicking, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm open to it. I mean, I also, I don't plan to just read the slides. I plan to give a little bit more narration. Again, I'm operating under the assumption that I'm going to be the poor sap that's selected to do this.
What about changing preliminary to schematic? And that way it sounds a little more final, and it is what we've been working on, which is the schematic plan. So for this slide and the previous one.
I like that one. Yeah.
Schematic or current plan, or like, I guess what I was trying to convey is the plan is before you today, like the plan where we're at today. So more like a status update. That's what I was trying to imply, but maybe that I missed the mark with that. So schematic's fine. Doesn't matter.
That's fine.
We can do schematic plan, and we can just narrate and say, okay, so where we are today with our schematic plan includes the following things. Right?
Yep. Perfect.
Okay. And then future work, design development of a cost estimate, presentation of those documents to a future town meeting. My intention is to leave it at this and to not ask for questions. Heather kind of urged me to do the same. We're going to get questions from the town floor, but I really wanted to leave it at, there's quite a bit more work to be done. And we're not going to get you're not getting a cost estimate today. It's going to be part of the design development, and it's going to be forthcoming.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt, but I got to bail, guys.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks.
Set up the meeting whenever it's convenient for you guys. I'll make it work. Our next meeting.
Okay. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody have any issues? Need to add more things to it?
I mean, on here, I know we talked about it the last one, but development of design development plans. I just don't understand, if you don't know plans, do you know what that is?
So again, I plan to narrate it.
Okay.
I plan to say something like future work, development of design, the next phase of development, or the next phase of our next task is to develop more detailed plans, which are called design development drawings. And those are going to allow for the development of a cost estimate for the building. Those plans have details such as mechanical systems, plumbing systems, electrical systems, those finishes for the building. And we'll be able to get a much better handle for design cost. And then just say, all of which will be presented at a future town meeting. So like my idea was just to bullet this, but when I do presentations, I just think it's bad form to be reading from the bullet.
Yeah.
It's really supposed to be high level and a summary of what is said in the verbal presentation. But I'm
So-
happy to add more detail or change it too, Dave. I mean,
So the only thing is it's development of design development. So maybe
yeah,
it's
it's a
like, I
little,
don't know,
yeah.
growth.
Preparation of design development.
Future work, design development plans, and then you could
Yeah.
have a cost estimate development.
Right. So get rid of the first words, the development of, you're saying.
Yeah. That's fine. Yep.
And the cost estimate, you're gonna say, is it a detailed cost estimate, Tom?
Yes,
All right, so I can say the word detailed cost estimate.
Yeah, it's gonna be probably by specification section, right, Tom?
yes, yep,
So you're gonna have a mechanical and a plumbing and a finishes and a roof and structure and equipment, you know, framing, windows, all that stuff.
Nah, no windows. Make it-
Well, I'm making it up, but you know what I mean.
All right.
Okay. All right, do I need to add anything?
So I didn't know if you needed to add anything about just the transition. Are you going to be transitioning it right over to Tom from this point, or should you have something that says, okay, now we're turning it over to Tom,
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, we should transition somehow.
or people start asking questions?
Yeah, I'll figure that out. Yeah, maybe Dave, or I can do this. I'm just going to do one slide at the end that just says thank you. So somehow we'll say thanks, and I'm going to turn it over to Giorgio. Somehow we'll do that. That's fine.
All right.
Does that make sense, that flow that I would give the presentation? Can we just vote on that? Does anybody want to do this presentation, or?
Greg, let's put it this way. If I already have one going
Yeah.
earlier, I'm item 4 with the green group.
Yeah.
For the streetlights. If
Yeah.
you want, I'm happy to give it, I am happy to sit around. I'm gonna be there, so I'm happy to do this if you want. It's your choice. So
Uh-huh.
you know, it doesn't make a difference to me. I'm used to it, but it's your choice.
Well, what do the members of the committee think? I'm the same. I'm happy to do it, but I'm certainly don't want to be presumptuous and think that I'm the best candidate.
I'm happy. I'm also comfortable presenting information, but I haven't been a part of the committee as long as the rest of you have. And I think that because of your professional background, Greg, that you offer a lot of apolitical, I think your presentation would be apolitical. So I think that I certainly support you presenting this.
Okay, Brian?
I would agree. I just was going to ask if you wanted us to stand with you 6 feet apart or 6 feet behind you. I would be willing to do that.
Well, Mr. Jeffries will be up at the front. I don't know.
Dave's already going to be at the finance table.
Yes.
Dave Casio.
Dave will be at the finance. I think we just do it. I don't think you need to stand up there. I don't think most committees do it that way. So all right, Dave, you all right if I do it?
No, Greg, listen, I was giving you an out. If you, that's it. That was it. And if you don't want to take it, that's not a problem, you know?
All right, I appreciate the out. I'll do it. I don't mind doing it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. And then, so we'll do this. I'll transition to Tom and Ed. Tom, I think just per Heather's thing, people are going to be at the mic or not be at the mic to ask questions. We'll just let them do that organically. We won't like leave it as, we'll try to just, we're treating this as an update presentation and that's it. So, and try to leave them with much more to come. It's somewhere there we should, probably on this slide, Dave, and I can add it, we should say, we should welcome more participation in our public process. So we can add that into, but
Thinking the
I
same
think-
thing, maybe future meetings that our meetings
Yeah.
are also broadcast or they're on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can find them online.
right.
Or
Right.
how about if I do the first bullet of continue to solicit support from the community, from the residents and the community about regarding the building.
Yep, that's fine. Perfect. And then I can, again, narrate it. All of our meetings are public, are videoed, are recorded for later use. If you can't attend, we invite your participation in that. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. All right, good.
I would also add that to avoid what could become a very lengthy back and forth or question session, I mean, I would be a little more forceful about that there is a meeting upcoming, that we welcome questions and participation at that meeting. Because I mean, the article is for a presentation, right? I mean, and I
Yeah.
would try to just really focus on the present. I mean, we can't stop people from asking questions, and we certainly want to encourage it. But I mean, I see the potential of this being a much lengthier thing if we don't kind of forcefully suggest that if any questions about the presentation being given, but that any more in-depth things about changes and recommendations and suggestions, that we welcome those at a meeting.
Okay. All right. I think maybe we work that in there at the beginning of the presentation somewhere, because you get people thinking about that. So, all right. I think the moderator is going to be, just to talk with Heather, I think the moderator is going to also say that it's an update article. I think, it's in his prerogative to allow or disallow questions. So I think we might get a little help there too. Okay. Really quick. We're going to lose Michael Ray soon. Can we just quickly give guidance for what we want to print? So do we want to print these presentations and have people have them in their hand?
I'm going to vote for printing just the building outline slides
I agree.
at just a bare minimum. The building outline slides. So if you had it as the whole building, and then the three wings blown up, and that was it. So that's two pieces of paper back and front.
Okay. I agree, but I think we should put the presentations though online.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
But in terms of paper material, it's going to be 4 pictures.
Right.
Okay.
Because the last thing I want is somebody to be sitting there reading this for an hour, coming up with questions to ask about semantics in the presentation.
Yeah, I think I agree. Is everybody all right with that, or does anybody have any differing opinions?
The only thing I would add is we want to add in the slide that shows the parking.
Oh, yes. Oh, sorry. Yes.
Okay. So the overall site plan too, Tom, would be great.
Okay. In terms of the slide or just a site plan, like
I think the handouts are just the maps. So just do the
oh, okay,
maps.
all right.
Yeah, just as big as you can get it on an 8.5 by 11.
So just to recap.
Right. Go ahead, Michael.
So just to recap, there's one that's the overview of all the space. There's one that looks at the office wing. There's one that looks at the community space area. There's one that looks at the PAC meeting room area. And then the fourth one looks at the school use area, right? And then we have another one that looks at the overall site map with parking.
Right. So 5.
So basically it's the rendered site plan with
Right.
colored.
Yeah. And again, just take the picture, print it on as big as you can on an 8.5 by 11. You can we can set it up for double siding, but the town will do that.
We'll send a PDF, and
Yeah.
may we use our logo and stuff for advertising purposes?
Yeah, sure.
Better than me. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if anybody in Lunenburg can afford you, buddy. No.
All right. Are we good with the presentation?
Looks good, buddy. Looks good. Right.
All right, thanks, everybody. I appreciate the input on that. Moving on here, because we have a quick turnaround for Mr. Jeffries. We do not have any minutes tonight, so we will pass over that. Future meeting schedule. When do we want to, we had planned to meet on the 30th, I believe, next. Do we want to just leave that and pick it up next time?
Sounds good.
December is, okay. And is there any public comment from the public? I still see only
Only us
only
smiling.
the 6 of us, so I will say there isn't, and I will ask if there's any public comment from the committee.
I just want to confirm the time. I'm sorry, 5:30 on the 30th.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Got it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. We'll see you all.
Oh, motion to adjourn.
Okay. Is there a
Second.
second? Okay. Roll call vote. Brian Leighton,
Yes.
Dave Blatt,
Yes.
Michael Ray Jeffries,
Aye.
and an aye for me. All right, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, thanks, guys. Greg, I'll have it for you tomorrow. The
Okay,
presentation.
Dave, I really appreciate you doing that. Thank
No
you.
problem. No problem.
Saves
I'll
me a
take
lot
care.
of time.
You okay with the backdrop?
Yeah,
Who
I'm an
cares?
engineer, buddy. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be pretty.
Hey, I'm an engineer too, but that's I only buy a piece of paper on the wall anymore. Okay, so.
I
All right,
got you.
I'll
All
say,
right,
like I
thanks,
say,
everybody.
I'll put some logos on it and the front page and all that stuff, and we'll get it going. All right. Thanks. All right. Oh,
Thanks.
can you send me Tom's thing so I can take a couple pictures out of that?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. All right.
yeah,
All
I'll
right,
send
you
it.
All right.
You know what? I don't know if I don't have it yet. So.
All right, don't worry about it.
let
I'll
me,
find it. I'll find a picture. I just got to find a picture of Passios as it sits today to put it in the front. Don't worry, I'll figure it out. I'll take care of it.
Well, I'll ask him to send it.
All right.
But-
All right. No
Okay.
problem. All right. Thanks,
All right,
guys.
everybody.
All right. Take care. You got it.